Hey everyone, and welcome to the Atomic Cinema Experiment. I am Peter, and I am joined, as always, by Tara.
Greetings, citizens.
And I love is that the show's it's a sci-fi movie podcast. We talk about sci-fi movies. We'll get to that in a minute. What I love is that on the last episode that went public, the Men in Black episode, someone commented, Devious commented, that you're always shaking your head at me whenever we start, presumably because I've said something to make you shake your head right before we start. This is true. I was wondering how long it would take for someone to notice this and point it out. But I'm going to tell you this right now, folks. You will never, ever find out what I said right before we start.
Well, I can also tell them that every time you say something, it's different. So
It is. No, it is. I don't use the same thing every time. I think of something stupid every time. And some of them you will never hear because I don't want any recording of me saying some of those things to be public. So,
but they are stupid, which is why I'm shaking my head.
it only took 10 episodes for someone to notice. Or at least mention it. Maybe people were noticing all along. Maybe that was always a thing. I don't know. I don't know if I started it right away. It may have been like episode 4 or 5 when I started doing that. I don't know. But this is episode 12. This is episode 12 of the Atomic Cinema Experiment. Every week we get a sci-fi movie and we watch it, we talk about it, and we dissect it, and just generally have fun and have a casual conversation as people typically do when they don't hate each other's guts. Although, admittedly, me and Connor somehow pull it off, even though we do hate each other's guts. So, it is what it is.
There's so much love there between you two. You can't hide it.
We're just waiting for striking vipers to be invented, okay? So.
I didn't mean physical love. Damn.
That's not technically physical. Technically, that's virtual love. Anyway.
Okay.
Okay, it was a joke. You know what? People were cracking striking vipers jokes like the second that episode of Black Mirror hit. All right, the second it hit, it was like, oh, you and like Tim striking vipers, like in his dreams. All right, in his dreams. You think I would accept someone of Tim's caliber with the sexual machismo that you see before you?
Too much.
Too much truth, I think you meant to say. Anyway. So we talk about sci-fi movies every week, and occasionally, well, honestly, I don't usually stroke my ego. For some reason, I'm just in a particularly ego-stroking mood this week, but here we are. But yeah, so we talk about sci-fi movies. Normally, we'll also have a bonus section at the end of the episode where we talk about an episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000 that we watched together, but Tara literally just moved across the country. We didn't have time for a couple episodes in a row, so that'll be back next week. Next week's episode, we'll be back to having Mystery Science Theater, so look forward to that. This week, though, we have to rely on the
although I do not remember which one I said we were going to do, so I might have to roll that footage.
I noted it down. I can tell you. May as well do it now. May as well do it now before we get going on this movie. Where did I note it down, though? I put it on something. Zombie Nightmare.
Zombie Nightmare. All right.
There you go. See, we're professional. We do this properly.
Yeah. Look at you being all prepared. Except you didn't do the thing that you said you were going to do last week.
I was waiting for this. Okay. Last episode, I might have said something along the lines of, hey, we've got a new Twitter account. We are at the Ace Podcast. And next time I'll remember to make a version of the overlay where it's on the screen. And if I don't, Tara can make fun of me for it. I forgot to do it, okay? I forgot to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Next time. So, yeah, Rhodey and Iron Man. Next time, right? That scene. Right? Except it wasn't him.
Oh, man. I think you just Terrence Howard yourself out of this show.
Next week it'll be some other Scottish guy who looks nothing like me, yeah. Anyway.
Maybe Gerard Butler wants to do it.
That hurts me. I'm way better than Gerard Butler. That hurts me deeply. You could even have said, I don't know, who's a nice Scottish person?
This is literally the only other person I could think of.
Maybe Sean Connery. Maybe Sean Connery. He's like 87 or something like that. I don't know what age he is, but he's.
Yeah, I don't know if that would be a step up anymore.
Well, yes, Tara, I watched a sci-fi science fiction film, yes. I wasn't a good Scottish Sean. I can't really do it. People expect me to be able to do Sean Connery because I'm Scottish, but nah.
No, everybody's got a Sean Connery impression.
Bond, James Bond. Was that
James
sound?
Bond.
James Bond. My name is Sean Connery. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I imagine to some people it probably sounds close enough because they're not Scottish, but to anyone who's Scottish, that sounded terrible. That was not even remotely.
I am the last one.
My name is
Ramirez. Reaganheart.
No, I'm going to do a Highlander line. My name is Ramirez, and I am a Spaniard. That is a line he has in that movie. It's the first line he has practically in that movie. Anyway, and it turns out later he's actually an Egyptian pretending to be a Spaniard, which is not any better.
Oof.
So,
I've never seen The Highlander.
Oh, hey, it's sci-fi.
Is it really? I always thought it was fantasy.
Well, I guess it's kind of borderline, but it's like immortal beings who've been alive for a long time. The second one's set in a dystopian future, so I mean, it definitely goes into more sci-fi.
Okay.
So, but I think it's close enough. I feel like we could do Highlander someday for fun.
All right.
With starring Christopher Lambert, who has like nothing resembling an accent anyone else on Earth has, who's supposed to be Scottish in that movie. Is yeah.
Well, he's from a long time ago, right?
No, no, that's not going to fly.
Okay, I've never seen it. I don't know.
No. I mean, he is from a long time ago, but I mean, it doesn't justify the accent he has. Oh dear. Anyway, the movie we're going to talk about this week, now that we've successfully introed the show for 5-10 minutes, is well, honestly, I'm fine with a bit of banter. I think if we're saying we're a podcast, not just a review show, I think a little bit of an intro is fine. I think a little bit of an intro. We have an intro section, we have the movie section, and then most weeks we'll have the Mystery Science Theater section. I think, to me, that's what this show is now.
Sure.
And that's okay. Yeah, and just wait for the new addition to the Screams After Midnight. What's the word I'm looking for? Oh my god! Oh my god! Like when you break a shot into segments, you call that not the schedule, the format of the show. That's the word I was looking for. God damn it. Format. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Anyway, so the movie we're talking about this week is I Am Mother, which is a Netflix exclusive. I don't know if they necessarily funded it, but they certainly bought it. And it stars Hilary Swank, as well as, I'm getting names here, as well as the voice of Rose Byrne as the robot, called Mother, and we'll get to that. And then the main character, really, daughter. Yes, the characters are literally named Mother, Daughter, Woman. That's the three characters.
Man, that's like a Netflix movie thing, right? Because wasn't that like a Bird Box? It was just boy and girl.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate this as like a rule. Like, I'm fine with some movies being like, because I actually love the idea of getting to the end of the movie and realizing I never learned the main character's name, and I'm like, oh yeah. Like, like they'll say it in the final scene or something, and I'll be like, oh shit, like that's actually kind of neat.
Cool. Yeah, but, I don't think I noticed it in the movie.
Yeah, but we actually have Luke Hawker playing Mother as actually the actor in the suit who's being the robot, which makes a lot of sense. So yeah, this is a movie set in a post-apocalyptic future. It's in like a big scientific bunker where a robot named Mother is raising a daughter who she never names. She's just daughter. And when she's of a teenage kind of age, that was a horrible sentence, but whatever. You don't come here for cunning linguists. You come here for wacky banter and shambles, I guess.
Sure.
What do you come here for?
Our in-depth reviews are not that in-depth, I guess. Oh. Well, there's not a lot of research behind them. It's just a lot of whatever we feel.
Well, yeah, I like to think we're decent enough, though, to actually analyze it a little bit and talk about things that, but, when there's techniques used that are worth talking about, when there's themes used that are worth talking about, I think they're there. So not all movies give it. Like, when we did Stargate last week.
Do, like, behind-the-scenes stuff.
Oh, sure. No, of course not.
Yeah.
But, like, Stargate last week, like, I mean, I tried to analyze it. But it's hard with some movies, okay? But you know, I saw the trailer for this movie a while ago, and it was kind of filling a lot of boxes or ticking a lot of boxes for me. Just in premise, like, okay, robot raising a child, mysterious outsider comes in and kind of makes a question if the robot's been telling her the truth the whole time. And that's kind of your movie. It's like, you know, okay, the world outside is like desolate. At least that's what we believe, and we kind of build up the world around it. You know, a little bit of 10 Cloverfield Lane, maybe, to compare it to something.
Yeah, I thought of that movie quite a bit watching this one.
Yeah. So yeah, so I it was ticking my boxes in terms of concept, and the trailer looked okay for what it was. It's hard to tell from trailers sometimes, because you can make a bad movie look good, you make a good movie look bad. You can do all these things with trailers.
Sure. And I actually went into this movie totally blind. I didn't watch the trailer at all.
Yeah. So the only thing really going against it, going into the movie, is that it's a Netflix movie, because outside of one or two gems, and those gems for me would be The Babysitter, which was really good fun, and I would say The Fundamentals of Caring, starring Paul Rudd, was really good.
Didn't see either of those.
Didn't see either? I recommend both. But those are the gems for me. I can't necessarily think of anything else that I would call a gem. Like, Netflix have this quality. There's some that are just outright terrible, like Open House or Bright. But for the most part, Netflix like original movies have this very like just okay quality to them, where they're kind of passable and they're not offensively
The ones
bad.
that I've seen, I agree. They're about passable to terrible.
Yeah. And like, I feel there's so many of them that reach that just passable enough territory, but they'll never like. And you're watching them going, "There's nothing conceptually wrong with this movie, but it's just not quite clicking. There's just elements of it that don't work, or you know, whatever else."
I don't know what it is that I can put my finger on, but there's like this inherent cheapness to it. To the movies that I've seen.
Yeah, and I've not seen the Andy Serkis Jungle Book movie. I assume that doesn't have that feeling because it was meant to be theater released and it was this huge
I did see
CGI.
that one, actually.
Did you? Yeah. I assume that didn't feel cheap.
No, that one did not.
Yeah.
I mean, the special effects alone, like, they were so good.
Joe, it's frustrating to me. Well, actually, I'll save this for when we actually talk about the movie. But yeah, the point being is that Netflix do have a great track record, so you know, something I like to say on some of the other shows we do, particularly with Tim on the Tales from the Crypt reviews, is the idea of there had been a streak of bad things. And in this case, we're talking about a streak of bad or mediocre Netflix movies. And I say, did this one break the streak? And so this is where I go to Tara to ask her opinion. So, Tara, did you enjoy I Am Mother?
I did enjoy it. It's still not much higher than mediocre to me, though. What about you?
I'm really disappointed you didn't respond to that with I am disappointed or something to that effect. I am disappointed now.
It is something a mother would say.
Yeah, I'm kind of in like a mediocre place with it. It's conceptually, again, like a lot of Netflix movies, conceptually, I like the ideas it's playing with. And I actually really like the design of Mother. I think she looks like a really good robot. And from an effects point of view, I think she always looks good. I think Mother...
I agree. I mean, she's mostly practical, right?
Yeah, which is why she looks good. But there's some CG early on when she's getting assembled or whatever, and I thought that looked quite good as well. I like her design. I like that part of it. Some of the other effects later on in the movie are a bit more hit and miss with how they look. We're not in spoilers yet. Obviously, we always start spoiler free. We'll give you a warning else, further down when we go into spoilers. But I don't think it's a super spoiler to say that we do see some of outside at some point. And I think once we see outside, the effects feel a little bit cheaper because it looks really fake. For the majority of it.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. It's still. I have other issues with that part of the film.
Oh sure, yeah.
That is more to do with plot.
Yeah, that's spoiler territory, but
so I'll wait. But as far as the effects go, I mean the effects were fine. I think overall there's still something about it that feels a bit cheap. That I could see if another director had it, or I don't know. Even like the score really stood out as kind of amateur or something, like something that would be in a television episode but not in a movie.
Yeah, the score is fine. Like it has some nice enough
Yeah,
moments,
it's
but
serviceable.
it's serviceable. This is a show where we'll say the word serviceable and passable about 10 million times. So I hope you're looking forward to that, folks. I guess basically what I'm saying is it did not break the streak. It is a Netflix movie. If you want the short version of the review, it's a Netflix movie.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that's true, but I do really like the science fiction elements of it. I like the story, like you said, the plot is pretty good. Um, it is an interesting concept because it does go in twists and turns that I don't expect. And for the most part, like I was along with the ride and the mystery. I think the beginning, like the first half, is way better than the second half.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I think you actually kind of got the right idea a minute ago when you were saying like ways to make it not feel cheap, and you mentioned like a better director, a different director. I think the biggest thing that's making these Netflix movies feel so mediocre and passable, as opposed to actually good, is direction and writing. I don't think it's down to the actual budgets, because this by its nature is a low budget sci-fi movie, and there have been many sci-fi movies that I have loved that are set in one. I mean, we mentioned 10 Cloverfield Lane. That's not even got like a
Mhm.
sci-fi set. That's just in a basement. That's like a dude's basement,
Yeah,
and that movie never feels like amateurly cheap when you're watching it. It feels like a professional film. And location doesn't have to make something feel cheap. It's how you shoot it. It's how you use the location.
right. It's about atmosphere, and this one has a
As none.
maybe. Yeah, I guess so. Well, there's a little bit of something there, but it reminds me of like a CW show or like a young adult
Mm.
movie. And maybe they were going for that because the star is a teenager, but uh, I don't know. But other Netflix movies have that too, and that's not always the case.
Yeah, I think that the problem with it is like there is no atmosphere, like we say. It's very sterile, which can work in some sci-fi science fiction. But I think the core conflict of like her questioning if Mother is telling the truth or if this stranger, this woman, is telling the truth, which I will probably refer to as Hilary Swank, just because it's weird saying women all over and over again. Yes,
Yeah.
women said this. Women did this. Daughter and mother are a bit easier, but woman is just a bit impersonal.
Yeah, a little bit.
So I'll just say swank, just so I can occasionally say things like she got swanked.
Yeah, nice one.
Oh, I want to make a movie now called the Swank Redemption.
You can't even say it. Can't make a movie if you can't say it.
Shaw
It's too
Swank
hard.
Redemption. I want the poster to be her just like Tim Robbins out in the rain, just be like, yes, Shaw Swank.
After climbing or crawling through a tube of shit.
Yes, calling through 2 miles of shit. 2 miles of shit. Hey, it'd be more entertaining than this movie, probably.
I don't think this movie is that bad. I think it's excuse me. I think it's I actually did kind of enjoy it, but it's I do like the concept. I like um I am kind of terrified of the future of AI because enough movies that I've watched have told me that that is the appropriate response.
Uh-huh. Yes, sure.
Um and I think it is a cool idea. But I couldn't help but compare it a little bit to the movie High Life that we were watching also
I did too.
recently on a show.
Specifically the raising of a kid on their own, like in this like cut
Yeah.
off, In that case, it was
And
a
I was
ship.
trying to
But
think like while I was watching it, how much if I would like the movie more if it was shot the same way as High Life was. Because High Life, although it was low budget and like really art housey, had a lot of atmosphere.
oh yeah, like
And
like that movie had problems that we didn't love, but the thing that never faltered was how it looked, kind of visually, kind of like, if not stunning, although sometimes it was stunning. At the very least, it always felt like it had a style. It always felt like
yeah,
the director had a vision for this moment, and whether or not,
yeah,
and I think it was the story and the characters that maybe let it down a little bit in that case.
yeah. Oh yeah, totally. But but if I were to watch the same movie but with that kind of style in it, like if I would like it more, if that was the thing that was bothering me. And I think overall, like I still have issues, like I said, with the ending, but I do think that the style of the film really makes me not connect with it the way I should, or the
Yeah,
way I want to.
no, I agree. The direction's kind of lukewarm, like the movie itself. Hey, lukewarm, another word that means passable or serviceable. Lukewarm. Um, do,
Damn it, Netflix.
do, I think the biggest problem for me is the core conflict, and some of this I can't talk about till spoilers, but I will say I don't think it's actually because I what I was expecting from this is someone who is sitting down to watch a science fiction film, and one of the things that I love about science fiction is the tough questions that are raised. And I don't.
Mhm.
I thought that this movie was going down a path where, like, her picking who she believed, or like the idea that both of them there were shades of right and wrong on both sides, and she had to make a choice. And maybe the idea that a human being making this choice is something that a robot can't do because it's not just black and white is kind of where they were maybe going with it. But that's not really where it goes. It makes it a lot more just one side is pretty evil, and one side is shades of grey but not as evil. And that like that's kind of just where it goes, and it feels more clear cut than it should be. And I never really felt because even though the final ending, which again we'll save for spoilers, even though it does introduce kind of an element of like ambiguity or like reasoning in the middle, most of the film doesn't feel that way. And for me, I feel like you could have had a gut wrenching kind of like thesis on the human condition and how humans decide to do things by having her like having to choose between essentially no right or wrong answers, and that would have been
Yeah.
fascinating. And instead, it doesn't really do that. It's just very quickly
No,
like,
it doesn't. It doesn't feel like it's willing to be daring or like bold and to make a stance like that.
no, yeah, it's got nothing to say. It doesn't have anything to say as a movie, and which is a problem
Yeah.
for science fiction, I think. And don't get me wrong, not that I don't enjoy some science fiction movies that don't have anything to say. I mean, go check out our bonus Patreon episode for Judge Dredd. I have a blast with that stupid movie, but like, it's like,
I don't think that helps my argument at all, but yeah.
yeah, no, like I think it's. That I mean, it would be different if it was fun. I don't like because we compared it to 10 Cloverfield Lane, which I'm sure we'll do someday on this show. But I like that movie. I don't think that
Mhm.
movie has really anything to say. It's just a really good thriller,
Oh
right?
yeah, totally.
And this movie could maybe work in that level where it's just a really good thriller, but I don't think it is. And that's where the direction is letting it down. That's where the direction and the pacing of the scenes and maybe how the information unfolds, where the characters learn things, doesn't quite add up.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Um, on a more positive note, I don't know the girl, but I thought she was really good.
she had charisma. She maintained.
Yeah, she basically, I mean, it was her and the voice of Rose Byrne for so much that she basically had to carry it. And, for a young actress who I've never seen before, I thought she did a pretty good job. She had to do a lot of different emotions, and I bought it.
Do you know what it feels like? It feels like we're watching a mediocre episode of TV, but there's an actor on that show that's clearly destined for maybe bigger things,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Okay.
No, and this is also a good TV show, admittedly, that I'm going to bring up. It was a spin-off, of course, to the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But there's an episode in season one of Angel, where Jeremy Renner, a young Jeremy Renner, has a guest starring role, and I suppose I've seen it the episode, so I can't remember if he was particularly good or bad. But I'm just in the sense where that episode, I don't remember being that great an episode, but he was clearly obviously going to go on to do,
Oh, really? He
Jeremy
was really
Renner
good in
things.
it.
Yeah. Because well, I mean, Jeremy Renner, right? He's Hurt Locker and everything else he's done recently.
Avengers.
Avengers. Well, yeah, I wasn't going to use that as like an acting tour de force, though, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'll
There
think.
was a time where Hollywood was like, no, Jeremy Renner is going to be your next leading man. Like they just kept trying to force it down our throats, and it never happened.
Do you remember Born Legacy? Do you remember that
I didn't
movie?
even bother.
I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it eventually, and it was just so forgettable and bland. And I got kind of
Really?
excited about the one after that because it was Damon and it was Greengrass, the director, came back because I mean I enjoyed the first Bourne movie, but I really liked Supremacy and Ultimatum. I really liked those 2 movies,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh yeah, they're back, and it ended up in another dud, and I was like, Yeah, just leave this alone. Like, because
Yeah,
Ultimatum had a good ending, like for the trilogy. It was like, no, this is a good ending. This is a
totally.
nice, uplifting ending. And then, no, we have to have all
I've seen
these.
them all, but I don't really remember them. The only one I haven't seen is the one with Jeremy Renner. I just kind of skipped it.
That's fine. Yeah, you didn't miss much, unfortunately. Uh, but yeah, I don't mind. I like Jeremy Renner well enough, you know.
Oh, The Hurt Locker is incredible, and he's incredible in it. So,
Yeah, you have to cast him the right role. I think the problem some people make with Jeremy Renner is like he's not the wisecracking hero who's the leading man, but his Hawkeye where he's kind of off to the side and he's kind of this really, you know, like his sense of humor is different, but when you
yeah.
utilize it properly, it works. Um. Anyway, what we talk about this movie though? We were talking about the actress being pretty good to great.
Yeah, I thought she was great.
Mm. So, yes.
And I couldn't pin the voice of of Mother for the entire film until the credits. Isn't Rose Byrne, isn't she like Australian or British or something?
I think she's Australian. If you need to bring it
Yeah.
up. Um, actually,
She's great at an American accent.
here's a fun story about how I discovered Rose Byrne. So,
Oh,
I used to go to the theater a lot, like multiple times in one day, because I when I went to the theater in the city, I had like a card that would let me see as many movies as I want. It was just like a membership. So I didn't pay for movies like individually. I just paid, whatever a month, and I would still have it today if it wasn't such a pain to travel there because I'm not there for any other reason now. But
mm-hmm.
I went to see. I often went to see two movies back to back. Some days I saw three. Um, and because I have that one day off free to do anything, I was like, yeah, I'll just go see some movies. So in the morning before the main film I was there for that day, I thought, oh, I'll try this horror movie that's out, and there was maybe a little bit of buzz for it, and it was Insidious, a movie which,
Oh yeah,
for the record, I actually really love. I love Insidious one. Um,
me too.
it's such a blast. That movie's just so obsessed with having fun with all of its concepts, and it goes
Oh
into.
yeah, and it became like a full-on haunted house film at the end. It was great.
Yeah, I loved it. I love Insidious one. And two is not great, but I still enjoy it, and I actually think three is a pretty solid standalone sequel. So
You're ranting off of your,
I know,
or
I know,
rambling off from your ramble, so
I
go
know.
back.
Yes, go back. This is the experiment. All right, this is the experiment. Anyway, so Rose Byrne's in that movie, and I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed Insidious a lot, and I thought she was solid in it. And the movie I saw after that, that was out at the same time, was X-Men First Class, and I got to see X-Men First Class, and she's in that movie. And the scene early on is that she's like infiltrating like the Hellfire Club, so she kind of like dresses up kind of sexily and goes in. And I was sitting going, she looks familiar. What have I seen her in? Like, I shit you not, I was literally sitting the whole movie going, I've seen her in something, and I couldn't figure out what it was. It wasn't until I got home and checked like IMDb, because I didn't know her well enough to like recognize her name in the credits. I was like, holy shit, she was literally just in the same two movies I watched back to back.
Yeah, I think Bridesmaids might have been that same year too, and she was in that.
Hmm.
Like she just kind of appeared in everything all at once.
I think she was known for a TV show that wasn't like super big, but people liked it a lot, called Damages with Glenn Close. She was like the other main character
Mm,
in that. I heard it was good. I've never seen it, but
I never saw it.
yeah. But no, I was just interested. That's my Rose Byrne story. Is that she was in movies that I watched back to back, and I was sitting going the second one going, I've seen her somewhere before. What was she in?
Well, I mean, as far as the character of Mother goes, with her voice performance, it was a very like you felt the empathy and the love like that she was supposed to give to the daughter character, and I thought it was an interesting choice because I don't know. I guess I was expecting something a bit more. I hate to use the term robotic, but sort of. And because we got her with her voice acting, I thought we got a decent character out of Mother. Like she was a good. I don't want to say like. I don't want to say anything other than character because I don't want to spoil
Oh,
anything.
sure.
But
Yeah,
like,
that's fine. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Mhm.
Speaking of movies, this reminded me of like we were talking about 10 Cloverfield Lane, a little bit of High Life. It's hard not to get a little bit of Moon as well in this.
Yeah.
Um, so there's a lot of makeup, and I think that's maybe the other problem with it is that, I mean, I love the idea of like setting a whole movie in like a futuristic bunker like in the post-apocalypse, and there's a robot. Like I love that, but the problem
Mhm.
is that this feels so derivative of like multiple other, and it's obviously, I mean, it couldn't have like intentionally copied High Life in any way. Of course it couldn't, because that just came out. But um it feels like the sci-fi ideas in this like have been done to death in a lot of like movies, a lot of TV shows, and the problem is that this, like I said earlier, has nothing to say about it really. It feels like it's just going through the motions of like what you expect from this story.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, there's a little bit of like nature versus nurture in there. Um, that's more of a spoiler conversation though.
I will say though, I will say when I saw the trailer, I kind of like got all snooty and I was like, well, I wonder if Hilary Swank will turn out to be her real mother because they look a lot alike. I wonder if that'll happen. And this is not a spoiler because the opening of the movie shows you her being created from embryo form. So we know exactly that she did not come from Hilary Swank. Like
Yeah.
we know that from the start of the movie. It's not so right away. The movie was like, no, that twist you thought was really obviously going to happen didn't happen. So I'll give it credit there that they didn't go down that route. But
Well, I never watched the trailer, so I didn't know.
yeah, but I got all snooty. I was like, well, I bet this is going to happen.
Was that over trailer talk?
Uh, Probably. Yeah, it was either on the stream or when we used to do Trailer Talk as a show. I don't know which one it was, but whatever one. Um, I got really snooty about it. Yeah. So like I say, it's lacking. It's lacking. It's basically a full 2 hours long, almost. It's like an hour 50 something, and I think it could be cut down. I think it drags quite a bit in places. It's lacking urgency.
Yeah. Plus, it kind of has a moment where you think it ends, and then it has this whole other plot added on to it at the end, and you're like, "Oh, we're going to keep going." Okay, it does feel a bit long.
Yeah, we could have been done like 20 minutes ago, maybe 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I know exactly the moment you're talking about. So I think without further ado, we will give the spoiler warning, and we could talk about the plot and where things went, and what we liked and didn't like about it. So full spoilers for I Am Mother. I am about to spoil things. So. Come on, that was a great joke. So, where do we begin with the spoiler? I guess one of the first things that happens when, cause throughout the early montage of the movie, we see daughter being raised, right? And she has like school lessons with a robot. She has exercise and dance routines. She watches like the Tonight Show from years ago. There's like kind of like
I
stock.
wonder why they decided on the Tonight Show, of all things to watch.
I imagine that somehow they like. This is the thing. It can't be a Netflix thing because Netflix don't own the rights to the Tonight Show. I wonder if it was just like the cheapest one to get out of all the famous talk shows.
Maybe. I mean, there are new people every single day, so she gets to see more, examples of humanity, but they're all celebrities.
I think it would have been funnier for me if she like was watching the Terminator on a little glass tablet. But anyway, so we get this sort of montage, and like they have this caring relationship where mother is like kind of motherly, for lack of a better word, to her, and she's told that she can never go outside because it's dangerous, there's a contagion, blah blah. But then one day there's banging at the door, and in comes Hilary Swank, and daughter's very hesitant with her, and Hilary Swank is like, like she brings her in and she has to hide her, and she like she's got like a mask on, and she's like, you have to put this hazmat suit on to come in because you might be contaminated, and she's like, yeah, it's not safe to breathe outside, there's a contagion. And she's like, who told you that, like, kind of thing. And one of the first things we learn is that when Hilary Swank eventually realizes there's a droid in the building, in this base, she gets really scared, and we find out that up top droids kill humans. Like and they look exactly like Mother, the exact same model and everything. Like they up top, like that's what she claims shot her. That up there, because she's wounded when she gets comes in. Um, so that's the first big wrench in things. It's like, okay, so it's like an AI apocalypse. It wasn't just like, climate change or like nuclear war or whatever.
Yeah,
It was
it's a
a
bit Skynet.
it's just been Skynet. Yes, let's keep comparing it to other movies that are better.
Or The Matrix.
Matrix. Yeah, I feel like at least with that one, it's like, okay, that's more cyberpunk and like, digital and
Sure, but
whatever.
it's erase humanity or use humanity to its a different potential.
Sure, sure. So Mother's thing is like she's been told to like basically save humanity because a lot of embryos, right? It's kind of like in sci-fi movies where the spaceship will have a lot of human embryos so they can repopulate another planet or something like that, right? The idea that they can repopulate Earth, but she's told to, or we learn at the end of the film that she's tried, like, daughter's not the first daughter. There's been several failures that she's cremated because they've not turned out good enough, and the idea being that she's trying to raise like the best type of human because humans are in some way to blame for the apocalypse, and it's like, no, I have to make a perfect race of humans. And I'm really trying to dance around the phrase master race here because it's hard not to think of that type of idea when we're talking about it. But it's basically to a robot what the perfect human being is, and then have all the human beings live up to those standards is
Right.
essentially what she's trying to do. And this is horrifying at the end, and
Sure, it's kind of the scary thing about, AI anyway, where it, we can develop a computer so smart that we can ask it to cure cancer in all humans. And, you never know how it's going to interpret a direction like that. So maybe its method of curing cancer of all humans is just to exterminate all humans. No more humans, no more cancer. So, something like that. So I
can,
could see this premise kind of stemming from something like that.
can I make you feel a little bit better because you're clearly very upset and like scared about this. I think the obvious solution to this is to not let the computer just enact whatever its plan is. Like, have it tell you its plan and then give you the key to turn it on.
Sure, you think there are obvious solutions, but this can get out of hand. I mean, once you design an AI to be sentient, then it's out of your control. It is terrifying. We
I,
should all be very afraid right now.
I love how scared of this you are. Don't worry, no one's going to come up and be all Sarah Connor and shoot you. Don't worry, that's not going to happen, right? It's not happening. Um, Although now I've got maybe a mailed fantasy of someone coming up to Connor and going, Connor.
It's a very different movie.
It's a very different movie. Why are they trying to kill Connor? I don't know. Maybe his kid's like the one who causes the apocalypse. Like, I could buy that. The Ginger Apocalypse. Yeah. Note it
No, I don't
down.
like this movie.
That's a movie idea. Note it down. Um. Anyway, well, yeah. So, Mother's whole thing, right? It's not a terrible concept on its own. It's
No,
not.
I don't think so.
The problem is though is that like I say, go back to the core conflict of like, you think it's going down this path where it's going to be this difficult choice, and there's a point where daughter like is it like being convinced in both sides, and computer said or mother says, sorry, mother's like, oh, the stranger lies because the bullet that's in her stomach is the same bullet that comes from her gun. So someone shot her with that gun or the same type of gun. A human did it,
Right.
right?
So it wasn't a gun that robots use. It's a gun that humans use. So a human shot her.
Yeah, and then Hilary Swanks, the Swankinator, she is like, well, did you see the bullet yourself, or did the computer just tell you that? And she's like, hmm. So she actually sneaks into like the lab where the bullet is, and like gets them out, and they don't match at all. It proves that Mother lied, and
Yeah.
from that point on, the movie just kind of treats Mother like a horror movie villain, to a point. For the next chunk of the movie, there's very
Hmm.
little kind of like debate or like, oh, maybe she lied for this reason. That's like, it's a good reason, or maybe she lied for this reason, which is a good reason. Um, there's nothing really like that because once she finds that there's like bones in like a crematorium, you know, there's like a skeleton, like part of a skull of like children. It's
Yeah,
like there's no
piece of jaw.
there's no redeeming mother at this point to the audience. It's like, okay, maybe in a cold hard like logic theory way, she was trying to like, you know, build a better version of humanity that wouldn't screw everything up, but like it doesn't matter. You were cremating children for not being good enough. Like at this point, you are just the villain of the movie,
Yeah.
and there's no coming back
Well,
from it.
it comes up later too with the girl because she's been wanting a brother or a sister for a long time, and she finally gets one. And then when you know when he is born in a way, and mother calls him perfect, and you know the daughter says, "What if he's not perfect? You know, what if he isn't? Then you know what's going to happen to him?"
Yeah, no, I mean it does set up that idea early on at least, but
Mhm.
it doesn't have that core moral debate because it's just clearly wrong. There's no like, you know, weighing up pros and cons here. It's just one is very wrong, and that's just
Yes,
it.
of
Like,
course.
you know, so
Although they do set up early that as far as morals go in in the eyes of the robot is that it's the I'm going to quote this from the hit television show Star Trek, the original series, but it's
the
the
needs of the
needs of
many
the many
outweigh.
outweigh the needs of the
Yeah, yeah,
few.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I knew you were going with that. I knew you were getting your reference in. Yeah, 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 yeah.
At what point?
And to be fair, that was actually the hit film Star Trek
I
2,
know.
The
They
Wrath of
don't actually
Khan.
say it in the show, they say it in the movies.
Yeah, so
Based on the hit television show.
there you go. That's how I do it with Angel. See, easy, easy. You just need to connect it to the hit television show. That's all you do. Now I like actually. Can we mention here briefly that I kind of laughed at the start of the movie because literally the way that they make a baby from an embryo is they essentially have like a birthing microwave. They put the embryo in this microwave, this little dome, and it's like just it just waits for it to cook.
Yeah, it takes only like 24 hours to do.
Yeah, yeah. Pregnancy, folks, it's easier in the future. We're all dead, but the pregnancies are easier.
I guess.
Oh dear. So I think that's my big problem with it is that there's just a clear right and wrong, and it kind of ruins the movie. And I think it could still work in that way, if there was a really interesting arc for Mother herself to learn that part of humanity is that they can make mistakes, and that part of humanity is that you can't just be perfect all the time. And you could argue at the ending because she kind of lets herself be destroyed to give daughter a chance to kind of start fresh with new people and like sort of build civilization herself and let a human do it. She kind of does that at the end, but I don't think the movie earned or justified her like mother making that choice. I think
No, not at all.
she just kind of does it out of nowhere, like, you know, like daughter convinces her, and I think we're supposed to buy that mother does genuinely kind of love her, and that's why she chooses to just go along with it. But like, if you weren't going to give me the interesting moral debate, the interesting thing might have been, okay, mother actually learns, like, you know, Terminator 2 style almost, right? Or iRobot style, whatever. They learns some level of humanity by the end and understands that it can't just be this. But not only that, it's even implied at the end, and I
She tries to logic out of argue her though, like into she does the like the Kirk thing where you convince it to destroy itself because it's not perfect.
what show was Kirk on, Tara?
Oh, that's the hit television show Star Trek the original series. I've already done it. Do I have to do it both times?
You don't
I
have
don't know the
to,
rules.
but I enjoy if I can do like multiple Buffy references in a show, I'll happily do it.
All right. 2 points.
Okay. Like that would be interesting. Although I know the episode you're referring to for the record. Yeah, where he outlogics the
This
computer.
unit must die.
Yeah, you know, like that would be an interesting thing. And again, we're bringing up other movies and stuff where we've seen this kind of arc happen with the robot, but I think it just kind of comes out of nowhere at the end, and it has no weight to it.
It feels too tame.
Yeah, it
Like it feels like an easy ending and it doesn't have any balls behind it. you
Yeah,
know?
everything about the ending, even the way it ends with like daughter getting into like the embryo room and just being, it's like a close up of her face, like, yeah, I'm going to restart humanity. She looks right at the camera for the ending, and I think the other thing that hurts it as well is that, and this was so unnecessary, but at the end, in the last act, it's heavily kind of hinted at or implied that Mother's actually the leader of all the robots. So, there's a whole section of the movie where she
Well,
goes,
she is the robots. Like it's all one program. It's all one AI system.
okay, sure, yeah, okay, that's maybe a better way of phrasing it, yeah. Um,
So even though that's why I'm a little confused. Like when she dies and she says, it doesn't matter if I die because, or if you kill me because I'm still everywhere. I remember when we talked about that in the Wandering Earth
there you go.
film. We were talking about how the astronaut like defeats the evil AI by throwing alcohol, burning bottle of alcohol onto the robot, and they're like, well, wouldn't it just still be in the system?
I think,
And that's what they addressed in this movie. They're like, well, sure, you can kill the robot, but I'm an AI system, so I'm still going to be everywhere.
I think to try and defend it, all this is still really stupid because any AI system should have itself and all the others. Is they do have a line earlier on where she mentions if that bullet had been like 2 inches to the right, it would have hit my CPU. So I think the implication there is that this is kind of the pardon the phrase, the mother unit that actually houses the AI.
I mean, I guess, but she was also still lying to her at that point.
No, that's true. That's true. Yeah, we should talk about the whole section of the movie where she does actually escape with Hilary Swank. Uh, and they travel through these giant ass like cornfields and I was really questioning at this point, like, why are the robots harvesting all this like
Food.
food? Yeah. I guess they're expecting humanity to come back and they're just prepping for it, but uh like corn doesn't
We
keep,
do love our corn.
yeah, it doesn't keep forever though, right? Like like
Well, no, but Hilary Swank does say that the air used to be almost unbreathable because there weren't any plants, and now
okay.
it's gotten a lot better.
But yeah, so it turns out Hilary Swank was lying to her because she kept saying she lived in a cave with all these other people, but it turned out all the people went crazy and like started killing each other, so she had to escape. And again, I thought maybe it could go interesting places where here's the bad side of humanity, but this is why, but ultimately to Mother you have to convince her, like,
Hmm.
no, we have to take a chance because this is how life develops and evolves. We can't just be perfect all the time. And Hilary Swank just wants to stay in her cargo crate. Uh, Although there is like an implication at the end that Mother goes to kill her because she never comes back with her.
Yeah, so what I read was that, or read from that scene, was that Hilary Swank is, that's why they look so alike, is that she is one of the clones or one of the embryos, one of the early ones, because
Ah,
Mother
okay.
let her go out so that she can be raised by humans, so that there's an example of what happens when you let um, when you're raised by humans versus
I,
being raised by Mother. And that's why she says you don't serve a purpose anymore, and then she kills her.
I,
But I didn't like that part. I'm just gonna say it right now. Like it seems very convenient
it feels very
that
tacked
she
on.
would have her there for that moment.
Yeah. How does she? Like, do you ever remembers anything like this? Like, at no point is.
Well, I think the implication is that she let Mother let um, Swank's clone go when she was a baby, when she was an infant, to be raised by humans,
Okay,
so
which is
that you get
infinite.
that
Okay.
contrast of like, I guess, nature versus nurture, because she should be the same as daughter.
Now,
Like they both have the same potential, except that one was raised by humans and therefore ended up, being devious and a terrible person, and the other one was raised by Mother and is the perfect human being.
this is making some amount of sense that this is what they were trying to do. Now you explain it to me. I'll be honest, I don't know if what it says about me like losing interest and not paying as much attention, or the movie just not being very good at getting these ideas across. But it never even occurred to me that that's. I thought she was just coming to kill her out of revenge for taking
For taking her.
for taking her. Yeah, that's all I thought it was. Um, Now that you're saying that line, "Now you serve no purpose," that's the giveaway, I suppose. But I don't know if that's enough. Like, there was no like dramatic beat to it where I was like, "What?" or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had that moment of, okay, so she is from Mother as well. She's also an embryo. That's why she looks just like the girl. Like
Mm.
they really do look alike. Um, and but I didn't like it still.
Also, actually, now I'm thinking about it, wasn't this after the other one got shot? So technically, it does confirm that Mother is around. She's still out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that makes that previous conversation null and void, but that's okay. Um,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't really like this ending very much.
no, it's far too easy and convenient. It's got not it's very toothless. And it kind of
Yeah.
it sums up the feeling of the movie as a whole, where it doesn't really have a whole lot to say, and it doesn't have any urgency, and the ending feels the same way. And when the ending just kind of confirms that it had nothing to really like go on or do, it just makes the whole thing feel a bit eh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not painful to watch. It's not the worst thing ever, but
Oh no, no.
at the same
I
time, though,
agree.
like I'm almost getting more frustrated watching movies like this because at least a bad movie like has a lot of dumb shit in it that I can maybe make fun of, or it has a lot of what like these types of movies where they're so like, in the middle and they're just so serviceable and nothing more. They're actually more frustrating in a way because like you can see
I know.
how
What do
it
you have to
could be
say
good.
about him?
Yeah, like
There's no like real big ideas in this either that we can really break down. I mean, unless we just miss them.
well, no, I think like what we were saying, we were hoping it would become is kind of still the themes that it's playing with. It just it's in a really mediocre script that doesn't feel really thought out, and then the direction doesn't like elevate it in any way.
Yeah.
So
I think there's too many twists in the film.
yeah, I agree with that. I think it needed to be a little bit simpler. And
Yeah.
I also, as much as I like seeing some of the bigger robots like try to break in, like this is the other thing. Like I wanted to love this moment where she's trying to convince Mother, and like the army of robots are breaking in to like
Hmm.
save her, basically save the mother, or at least well, not even save her, but just stop the insubordinate daughter. Um, and they've got these big tank like crab tank things that come in and they're like breaking down the door with lasers or whatever. And I'm like, I want to be excited with this like ticking time clock. The idea that she has to convince the computer before these big army of robots get to her, like that there's something in that concept, right? And I'm sure it's been done 100 times, and
Yeah. I mean, it is. It's a ticking time clock.
but I feel nothing from it. I felt absolutely nothing, and I should be excited by big robots. But part of the problem is that cutting to the big robots outside means we see the outside again, and the robots look all right. The mechanical things look all right in the CG. It's the background. It's the fog. It's the
Mm,
fake trees in the background. It's all just this green screen. I mean, not with the robots. 'Cause with the robots, I'm sure it's just all CG. But when the humans, when Swank and the girl were out, it looked like constant just green screen work in a really
yeah.
obvious way, and it felt really cheap and tacky. It felt like a Star Wars prequel. Let's call it what it is. I kid.
Um, I don't know. I think the Star Wars prequels have more atmosphere than that. I think it's almost like a video game cutscene
Well,
from like,
I can
I don't
see
know.
that. I can see that. Although I would debate that that's exactly how I think the Star Wars prequels feel. It feels like they're just walking against video game cutscenes a lot of the time.
Maybe. I don't know. It's been a while for me.
It's been a while for me, but some pain never leaves you, Tara. Right? Some pain never leaves you. You might have, like the first time you stubbed your toe, right? You'd probably remember that. Maybe not you, because you're
Oh
ancient,
yeah.
but
I mean, I remember how much I had that toe stepping feeling watching Revenge of the Sith.
the first time you broke a bone, if you ever did. I mean, I haven't actually,
Yeah,
but bones of
just
steel.
once. Oh wait, twice.
See, you forgot the second one, but you didn't forget the first one.
The first one was worse.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I remember that pain, like those Star Wars prequels. Attack of the Clones is one of the most boring movies I have ever sat through, and I will maintain it as one of the most boring things I've ever seen. Oh.
You know we're gonna have to watch them on the show.
Oh, no, we don't. Come
I mean,
on.
it's classic science fiction. We have to do it.
Don't you dare call them classic, Tara.
The Star Wars, yeah.
The original Star Wars, yes. I'm not. Don't you call Attack of the Clones classic science fiction? You secure that shit right now.
I hate to break it to you, but the whole franchise is considered one big thing.
Piss off. No. No. I'm not having this. I'm not having this insubordination.
We'll watch it in the correct order.
Which is like release order, right?
Yes.
Okay, just checking. Just making sure. Oh, God. Do we really have to do Star Wars movies on this show? I don't think we do.
Of course we do. Everyone's going to expect it.
Oh.
We have like a big master list of all the films that we're supposed to do. I don't think we have Star Wars even listed on
there. By design.
We have to do it. Like, it goes without saying.
No. It's not on the master list. We don't have to do it.
It will be tonight.
I'll delete it. It's fine. Every time Tara puts it on the list, I'm just going to sneak in later and be like, nope.
It's on my master list. Right up here.
Yes. Tara's like mother. She's a computer. Just got it all inside. We should have started this show by going, I am Peter, and then you could have went, I am Tara. And we're going to talk about I am mother. In unison. We could say that last part in unison. Oh dear. No. What else is there to talk about in this movie? Is there anything else? Have we covered the gist of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we ran out of words for mediocre a while ago, so.
Yeah, I guess there's some truth in that. What do you think of Hilary Swank in general?
Oh, I don't know. She's kind of disappeared for a while. I was actually surprised to see her in this movie because I hadn't seen her in anything in a while, but I always thought she was great.
I don't think I've seen a lot of her bigger things. What's funny is that me and Tim on Screams actually, just in the last month or so, we did The Gift, the 2000 Sam Raimi film, and she's in that. She's got a smallish role in The Gift. She plays Keanu Reeves' wife, and he's like a really abusive asshole in that. You know, he's got.
That doesn't sound like a Keanu Reeves role.
No, it's not. This is the most un-Keanu Reeves thing. He's a redneck. He's doing a southern accent. He's got a Confederate flag on his truck. Like this is so not Keanu Reeves. That said, though, it's the only thing I can think of from that kind of part of his career where he has the long hair and the beard. So he actually had the John Wick kind of look, despite the fact that he was a redneck. But she was in that, and I just think it's funny because that would have been, pretty early on in her career, Swank, and like she's, our youngest that I've probably seen her in that movie. I'm sure she's been in stuff before that, but I can't think of anything. And then to do this like a month later, where she's like, present day Hilary Swank, who's not ancient by any means. She's not like an old woman, but
no.
But it's a 20-year difference almost. It's 19 years, so it's just kind of funny to see a jump from that to this.
Yeah, I liked her. I mean, I liked her in the boxing movie $1 Million Baby, Boys Don't Cry, and that's really about all I remember of watching her in.
I've seen $1 Million Baby.
She kind of just disappeared.
Yeah, I've seen $1 Million Baby. I've never seen Boys Don't Cry.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And
I remember it being good. I don't know if it holds up as well.
And for wrestling fans, I'll just say everyone's got a price for the $1 Million Baby.
I'm not a wrestling fan.
I know you're not, but I had to make my joke. There used to be a wrestler called the $1 Million Man, and his theme music was pretty memorable. That evil laugh, it was great. Anyway,
I'm still lost.
It's fine. So. Yeah, Hilary Swank, I feel like the most memorable thing about Hilary Swank, and I hate saying this, is the episode of The Office where they're arguing if Hilary Swank is hot or not. And it's like this, it becomes this like civil war in the office, for and against.
I'm familiar.
And I always remember the moment that always made me laugh the most is when Kevin, if you don't know The Office, Kevin is the big guy, right? The big fat guy in The Office, where he's on Team Hot, and then someone points out, no. The question was, is she hot? Not would you do her? And then he switches sides. I always remember that.
Well, clearly the answer is yes, she's hot.
I am not going to lower myself to take part in that debate. I am a classy broad, and I will not be doing it.
I am not, apparently.
I said, do you know what the sad part is I think that it's the sort of thing that I see offices getting up to, is having like debates on people's attractiveness. As right or as insensitive as that may be. I guess when it comes to celebrities, it's like, yeah, celebrities get judged like this all the time, so I guess you just expect it. What's weird about that though is it's on TV, and I'm like, Hilary Swank might see this
I know.
and might actually feel a bit self-conscious that there's a debate going on about whether or not she's attractive.
I wonder if she's ever commented about it.
I bet there's an interview somewhere. It's like, hey, did you ever see that episode of The Office? I'm like, everyone always asks me about this. Everyone always asks.
Well, in case she's looking this up too. Yes, Hilary Swank, you are a beautiful woman. There's no debate.
Oh, you're all right.
Yeah.
I feel weird talking about attractiveness. Like I feel like Tara will always bring up like actors or characters she thinks is hot or whatever, and I just don't feel. I feel weird doing it. I feel like I'm being a pig, so I just don't do it.
I mean, I like beautiful people, and Hollywood does too. So
I don't know. I just
I
feel
can
weird.
comment. Sometimes I do.
Sometimes. Yeah, right.
I think I'm equal.
Equal in what sense? Like in terms of like the number.
I have a diverse taste of beauty. Like, Hilary Swank is clearly beautiful. I've said that. Sterling K. Brown is also beautiful.
Right, get to William Riker. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's get to
William
him.
Riker is like my first. Oh, so that's what a man looks like.
Okay, all right. This is what we've divulged into. We've divulged into Tara's dream list. All right.
Yep.
Starting with Hilary
Miles Goes
Swank.
After Dark.
Yeah. Bow chicka wow wow. I am so sweaty right, and not because we're talking about who's hot. Like just for the record, like I'm just.
I know it's because we brought up Will Riker. It happens to me too.
I will say, I feel like the modern media does not appreciate a hairy man, and I just want to say that in Star Trek Next Generation they bask in the hairy chest of William Riker, and as a hairy chested man, I feel empowered by that basking. So I can't even be mad at the Riker love, because Riker is, especially not so much season 1 Riker. I'm looking forward to the beard, because beard and hairy chest Riker is like my spirit animal.
Peak Riker.
He's there for the bearded hairy men out there, and I can appreciate that. And let's be honest, it's hard to be infatuated with any of the female characters on Next Generation, because Troy's annoying. Tasha was Tasha.
Tasha's partier.
And Beverly Crusher's all right but I mean, I think of her as a mum character. She's not, I'm not enamored with Beverly Crusher.
Yeah, she doesn't have a lot of great episodes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They just really didn't know what to do with the women on that show.
Unlike the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where several female characters are giving fantastic arcs.
Like the lead?
Like the lead, for example. But not just the lead. That's the beauty of it. It's not just the lead. Cordelia gets a great arc over the years. Willow gets a phenomenal arc over the years, amongst others. But those are the main ones. They're there from the start that really stick out. Fantastic arcs. That's all I'm saying. I guess what I'm saying
is... You haven't gotten to Deep Space Nine yet. Some good women characters in that show.
I'm looking forward to it. I love a good. This is a weird sentence. I love a good woman character. But no, I mean, But this is the thing though, is that so many shows are guilty of not having them, so it sticks out when you have them more. It feels like more of a notable thing.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's gotten a lot better with the years.
yeah, and
And a lot of it has to do with Joss Whedon. So thank you, Joss.
yeah, no, a lot of it does do with Buffy, and I think like it's one of those things that always come up. See when we were having debates like online before, not us personally, but like when the debates were coming up about female-led superhero films and how they won't work because of Elektra and Catwoman and you know those failures, and like you can't have like a female-led like big budget movie, and every time someone said that, I'm like, my favorite show is Buffy the Vampire. I grew up watching a show where the lead was this strong woman, and it was just weird. It was like alien to me that like, why can't that work? Like, she's a badass. Like,
Yeah, and clearly everybody agrees because Lucy came out, and even though it wasn't a very good movie, it made a ton of money. Wonder Woman came out, and although I also don't think that's a very good movie, it made a ton of money.
oh, there's got to be some comments about that.
Captain Marvel came out, and that was good, and it made a ton of money.
Yeah, there's got to be comments about that statement in the comments, which is where you traditionally find the comments in the comments section. So please, if you're ever trying to find the comments and you're confused about where the comments will appear, if you look down at the comment section, you will find said comments. That has been your comment guide for this episode. Oh, but yeah,
I know it's an unpopular opinion.
Yeah, strong female characters are great.
It's very good.
Is all I'm trying to say. To be fair to this movie, it is an all-female cast. Well, I mean, there's a guy inside the robot suit, but like in terms of the actual characters, we got a robot lady, and then we got daughter and woman. Which, to be fair, it doesn't sound very feminist when it's just "and woman" as character. It's all about context.
No, it is. I think it is.
It's all about context, of course, but it's just when you say it like that out of context, it's like yes, and the one of the lead characters is just referred to as a woman.
Mm-hmm. I thought I did notice like the robot walk and stuff like that. I mean, he's no RoboCop, but he was pretty good.
Oh yeah, I like the robot. Shades of here. Do you want an unpopular opinion? The people we'll do this movie someday, so we'll talk about it in depth. But I kind of like Chappie. So
you've told me that before. I hate that movie. I don't want to review it. I don't want to watch it again.
If I have to watch Star Wars prequels, you're watching Chappie.
Oh, God. I don't want to watch the movie again.
Was it the South African rappers you didn't like? Was those the characters that you?
Well, the thing is, I actually do kind of like the Antwoord, but I don't like them in the movie. I don't like Chappie. Hey, Neil Blomkamp, is that his name?
Blomkamp, yeah.
Made one good movie, and one great movie, I'll say. And then everything else has just been so disappointing. Downright terrible.
He could be making a second great movie, and that the RoboCop sequel is doing right now. And it could have been a second great movie with the Alien sequel that he was going to do until Ridley Scott said, no, I want to do Prometheus 2 instead.
Yeah. I don't know which one I would rather watch, to be honest.
Oh, come on. I think maybe the bigger problem with the Blomkamp is that all of his concepts come from him from scratch. And in District 9's case, that's a good thing. But I think giving him like alien characters and saying, just do a sequel to Aliens and make your Aliens movie, I think I think he's a good director. I think he's just, he's a bit of a wacky writer.
Yeah, that might be it.
I love it. I love how his stuff looks. So I love the way his robots and mech suits look. I love what his science fiction looks like. I love it. Even Elysium and Chappie, which aren't necessarily great movies, like I love how they look.
No, they are not great movies. I can't believe we're gonna have to watch Chappie again. It's so irritating.
Someday. It's not like it's on the schedule for any time soon.
What is on the schedule next?
Well, we have to rate this movie first, Tara, before we get to that.
Uh,
Yeah, we haven't rated the movie.
I genuinely wanted to know.
I don't have it up yet. Let me get it up for you. And I'll have it ready for the end of the show. But we should rate the movie though, because we've been rambling on here about things that are not movie related. Which again, that's okay because it's a podcast and we will talk about things in a wacky, friendly manner because that's what we do.
Yeah, we do ramble.
And I drop things sometimes, occasionally. I'm going to. Should I stand up and bend over for the ladies at home? Do you want an ass shot? I'll do it. I'll do it. That's not a no.
Do you want me to speak on behalf of the ladies?
Yes, you represent all women right now.
No.
It's only because you're just afraid you won't be able to handle it. That's all that is. All right. Okay, we have reached that point in the show where I'm going to ask Tara a very serious question.
Yes, Peter.
What would you rate this film out of 10?
Okay, so I did not enjoy watching it. I didn't like the ending, and overall, it still had that Netflix feel, but I still kind of had fun with it. So I'm not going to go that low. I think it's a 7 film. I'm going to give it a 7.
A 7?
Mm-hmm.
We're really digging interesting paths on like how your scale works. I feel like because there's been some other stuff where I've been like, oh, yeah, I think it's not great, but like I'll give it like a 6 or a 7, and you've been really harsh. And this movie, like, I'm actually surprised you're going that high because I am going to.
I think that's a mediocre score.
Do you know, you and Connor would have such a fight about that. I'm going straight down the middle. I think it's a 5 out of 10. I think it's a straight
Okay.
5. I think 7's more of a good-ish movie.
Yeah, well, I think I'm doing like mediocre to good. I think I'm in
Okay.
there.
Okay. We're gauging it. We're gauging it. I wonder if after like doing this show for like a year or something, you get more settled into rating things out of 10. Because it's not something you did as often before the show, right? Where you rated movies that way.
No,
Yeah. I'm wondering
I
if
don't really rate movies except on the show.
well, you do now, but that's why I'm wondering if like you're still kind of like finding your scale, kind of. You're still like
Okay. I know that we practically agreed about everything that we talked about on here, so it does sound like we should have a similar rating, but I mean, I didn't hate the movie. I just had a lot of things that I could talk about that were not what they should have been. But I still kind of enjoyed it, and I think it's worth watching. So I'm going to go more positive, I think.
I guess that's where we differ because I don't think it is worth watching. I think if you're interested in this movie, I think we've listed like 4 or 5 other movies you should watch instead.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, maybe you're right. I was feeling a little bit more down after we talked about it, so um, I'll do 6.5. 6.5
You'd have to
is
change
my
it.
final.
I'm not trying to make you change it. I'm
No,
just
no, you're probably right, but I'm going to go 6.5 final.
I'll go to 5.5. All right, we'll meet. We'll meet
No, you don't
closer.
have to change.
We'll meet closer. We're getting closer. We're the 16th chapel. The hands are coming in. And
I think that's pretty close to what we gave The Wandering Earth also. Maybe that was more of a 5.
yeah, no,
I think this is better than that.
I'll stick with my 5. Um,
Okay.
I think they're in a similar kind of ballpark. I think I might like just how batshit insane the plot of that was. It's just that made it slightly more entertaining, I guess. But I mean, I do mean slightly, like a slither more entertaining. Slither.
Yeah.
This didn't have a guy that just happened to have a minigun in his back the whole time.
Yeah, nobody threw up into their own helmet and then tried to put it on somebody else's head.
Yeah, wasn't that the guy who just casually said that he'd raped someone at the start? Or
Yeah, there's no weird comic relief character.
yeah, there isn't. I think Mother tries to crack a joke at one point, and that's the extent of the comic relief.
Oh yeah,
I think that was
that
the
was kind of funny.
that was the extent of it. All right, that has been. I Am Mother. At least a lot of it was, not all of it, but a lot of it. Hey, that's the show, okay? That's what you get when you come for the cinema
I
experiment.
mean, if they don't know that by now.
I know. If anything is making me question why me and Tim don't tangent, I feel like I should tangent more with Tim. I need to give him. I need to give
try.
him. I'll need to try with him when he gets back from his vacation. He's on his honeymoon. I'll I'll try him out with some tangenting. I'm trying to think of the word while I'm getting the schedule up here. Damn it! Right, here we go. So, I actually have something to ask you about future episodes after we're done recording. It's not a debate for on air, so everyone can be like, "Whoa."
Okay.
So, yes. Okay, actually, I can tell you about the next movie as it's an interesting one because the next movie is the winner of the last Patreon vote, which means next episode we are doing Primer. So that's going to be a fun one.
Exciting. I've never seen it.
Yeah. And wait, did I say at the start we'd have a Mystery Science Theater thing next week? Because I don't actually think that's necessarily true. Is it?
Well, we might.
We might.
Yeah. We might be able to. If it's not this week, it'll be the next one.
Yeah, if it's not the next episode, it'll definitely be the one after. We'll try and see if we can squeeze one in. Or we're going to try and hang out. But yeah, so Primer. I think I'm going to bring diagrams for this one.
Oh.
Are you familiar with Primer's reputation?
No.
Primer's a time travel movie, but it is one of the most complicated and confusing time travel movies that's ever been made.
You're gonna need some red and blue flashcards for this one.
Yeah. Tyler made a Chernobyl reference. Joe, what's funny is me and Connor just earlier tonight. I'm going to be like editing and putting it up like after we're done later. We reviewed the first episode of season 2 of Dark from Netflix, which is a German time travel show, which was very good season 1. We did the first episode, and throughout season 1 there was a nuclear power plant in the town, and it was brought up a few times. And it is time travel, and one of the time travel periods in the show is 1986, and it's like 4 or 5 months after Chernobyl, and they reference it a lot because I rewatched season 1 over the last week because it was such a it wasn't confusing to watch, but having not seen it for a while, it's hard to remember all the details because there was so many little connections and things. But like this time watching it, is a scene where a character travels back in time to 1986, and someone says, "Hey, you shouldn't be out in the rain because of Chernobyl." And I was getting all, I was like, "Chernobyl, yes, comrade."
Comrade, it's not dead.
Like Azov is over solving the problem. Like, just a couple of countries over. This is great. And then
love that miniseries. Let's just review it again.
Do you want to review? Hey, you never did episode 1 and 2. We've got legitimate reason to remake 1 and 2 reviews.
I miss reviewing Chernobyl.
Yeah, if only it was longer. It was a little longer. At the very least, though, we do have Big Little Lies, which we do together, so you can check out our Big Little Lies reviews. Look at that natural plug. That was a natural plug. That's how you do it. That's how you do it, baby. All right. So that has been I Am Mother. This has been Atomic Cinema Experiment, episode 12, I said. I think at the start of this. I think that's right. So, yeah, you can, of course, let us know what you think of the movie if you've watched it in the comments below. It's a Netflix movie, so it's easy to get to. I mean, you can seek it out. Like I said earlier on, we have a Twitter now. We have at the Ace Podcast on the Twitters. You can also get me at Wibble89. All these things do, of course, support us, as do going to the podcast app of your choice, wherever you listen to it, and rating us, giving us a 5-star rating, maybe a little review, helps people find us, helps more people join the experiment, as it were. And if you want to support us financially, and Tara is so proud, she does this so well now. Tara, where can people support us financially?
Well, you can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/MouthFuzzTV. You can donate as little as $1 per month, and you get bonus episodes of The Ace for doing it.
You do.
We have Judge Dredd was mentioned earlier. We also have what was the other one we did? Trancers. The first in a 7-movie franchise, which will be coming back to the bonus episodes at some point. At some point, yeah. It's probably a mistake to do a franchise for bonuses. Once a month.
To be fair though, that I mean, we're not going to do them consecutively. Like, we'll come back and do Trancers 2 in like a year or something. I don't know. But that entire franchise looks bonus episode quality, though.
Okay.
It really does. Like, it so does.
It has an Oscar winner, Helen Hunt, in there.
Yes, Helen Hunt.
And like 6 of them, too, right? Isn't she in a bunch of them?
She's in like the first 3, I think. But it's confusing because there's transfers 1 through 6, but there's a transfers in between either 2 and 3 or 3 and 4. So the numbering is actually wrong past a certain point.
Transfers Comes Alive. I don't remember what it's called.
Transfers in the...
Search for Curly's Gold.
I don't know. It's so late. I can't joke anymore. I don't have any material left in the tank. What
Transfers in the Chamber of Secrets, something like that.
Yes,
that sounds right.
Transfers Takes Manhattan. That's the 8th one. yeah. Patreon has bonus episodes, has early stuff, has voting at the $5 tier. Bonus episodes though you get for $1. So you get $1, you get a bonus episode of this, bonus episode of Screams After Midnight, and you also get a show where me and Car just like pick topics out of a hat and chat about them, which is called Mailed Fuzz Mysteries. Why? It's a mystery. So Connor suggested that, and I said it was too cheesy, and I just used it. I feel ashamed. But we're at that point in the show where I feel stupid enough to say that. So yeah, go check it out. And if we're going to promote other things, I think we'll both promote one thing. I'll promote our Twilight Zone reviews. Me and Tara every week review an episode of the classic Twilight Zone show. We actually did the new season as well of the new show, but we're working our way through the original Twilight Zone, and that goes up every week. And there's also a podcast feed for that now. It's not just on YouTube. It's called Fuzz in the Zone for the podcast feed. And it's behind the YouTube right now, but I'm doing a few a week on that just to catch it up, so that eventually it'll be day and date with the video. Tara, what do you want to promote?
Why, I think you should check out the Babylon 5 reviews that Peter is putting up. They're solo reviews. They're still worth watching.
They're solo reviews
and
for...
pretty soon, they will not be solo reviews, so
No,
gotta catch up.
It'll be me and Tara doing another sci-fi piece of content. It'll be me and Tara reviewing Babylon 5 together. So you can look forward to that. We don't have a strict sort of date for when that's going to sort of transition into me and Tara, but Tara's catching up to where the reviews are up to right now, and we'll be doing that soon. But yeah, that's a good idea. So there you go. That has been the Atomic Cinema Experiment. Tara, we made it to the end of this show. Are you delighted?
I'm so tired.
We're both so tired, and I'm really sweaty. I'm also really hungry. There's a lot going on, but that's okay.
Why do we do these so late at night?
Because you live in a stupid time zone. All right, that has been and you. To be fair, you're still getting used to the new time zone. You're still kind of on the East Coast time zone, right?
Mm-hmm. It's so late. Oh no. I've been fighting that.
Do you want me to edit that out? You want me to edit the yawn out?
I don't care.
You don't care? Okay. The yawn's staying in, folks. The yawn's staying in all its glory. Anyway, I really had to think about the word glory there. That's a good sign to end it. So that has been the Atomic Cinema Experiment, episode 12. Tara, what's your final statement for the show? That's not your outro, it's your final statement.
I am Tara.
Excellent. My final statement is that we're never doing the Star Wars prequels. Tara's going to make me do it. Don't like
I'm
it.
not going to make you. The audience is going to make you. It's a science fiction movie podcast. How are we not going to do Star Wars?
I love the idea of doing Star Wars and Connor doesn't get to be a part of it. I do like that part. That's really funny to me. All right. Thank you once again, folks, for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Mystery Science Theater may be back next week, but it definitely will be back the week after, if not. So look forward to that. Thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate that. I said that already because I'm rambling too much now. But thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Keep watching sci-fi movies. And computer, add salsa.
Yum, yum.